So I grew up in the South, and we have winter weather down there, but it's usually ice. So it wasn't until I was 20 years old and living in Portland, Oregon, that I even saw snow more than a couple of inches deep for the first time, which also happened to be the first time I ever drove in it. The family I was nannying for at the time was going on a spring break trip, and they offered me a deal. If I took them to and picked them up from the airport, in exchange, I could borrow their car for a week while they were gone. And I was a bike commuter, so I said yes, of course. I stocked up on canned goods, I went to IKEA, and I got out of the city and went camping in the Cascades with my boyfriend. So I'm driving us out of the campsite a different way than we came in. And 3 things happened in pretty quick succession that turned this into a real adventure. 1, the road started getting really, really, really steep, and I realized we were climbing up into the mountains. A few miles later, the gas light comes on, and I actually don't panic at this point because I know there's no gas the way we came, so I have no other choice. I just have to keep going, which I do. But a few miles later, it begins to snow. And it's snowing hard, and it's snowing fast. And within minutes, it's more snow than I've ever seen in my life. And I try to get my boyfriend to drive because he's a Yankee. He knows how to do this. But he won't because it's my boss's car. And he says, just go slow. You'll be fine. And he's right. I go slow. There's no other cars on the road. And it's actually kind of fun. I'm not slipping off into oblivion. And so I start to relax, and I see that we are in this absolutely beautiful Douglas fir forest. It's nothing like I've ever seen in the Appalachians where I grew up. The trees are so tall, and they're so thick, and they're so black that I completely lose all sense of scale, which is probably why I'm so shocked when the car comes to a complete stop. And my first thought is, oh my gosh, I've run out of gas, but the car's still running, so that's not it. And I quickly realized that as we've been climbing, the snow has been getting deeper and deeper, and it's now impassable. And so I try to reverse back the way I came, but that is a snow driving skill that is like next level. I can't do it. So he even gets in the driver's seat, but no, we are completely stuck, and we have no shovels, no sand, no chains, no winter gear of any kind, no cell phones. This is before those days. So we're just stuck, and I'm not ready to abandon the car yet to go look for help. So we just decide to sit in the back. We get our books, we get our trail mix, and we wait to see if anyone's going to come. And we wait for hours, and nobody comes. So I have to be at the airport the next day. And it's time to make decisions. I need to find someone to get word to my bosses. But first I have to pee. And my first instinct is to head for those woods. But then I joke, if I pee in the middle of the road, then somebody will come. So that's what I do. I walk to the middle of the road, and I pull down my pants, and no sooner does my butt hit the frozen air, but here comes a pickup truck rumbling up this mountain, the first person we've seen in hours. And I'm embarrassed, but not so much that I can't beg for help. And so I'm talking to the guy, and he's really reluctant to help. And it turns out we are not the first stranded Portlanders that this man has ever helped. And previous people had either damaged his truck or owed him money. I'm not sure the specifics, but it wasn't going to be a problem for us because we were not going anywhere until we got gas, where there would surely be an ATM where we would surely shower him with whatever cash prize he needed. So he hooks us up with chains and begins pulling us like a sled down the mountain, which is absolutely terrifying because I'm in the driver's seat, but I have no control of what's going on. And the forest thins out, and I can see how high we are, and I can see that there's this ravine off to my left, and I'm just sure that we're gonna like slalom off and get dragged by these chains. But that doesn't happen. And the snow clears, the road clears, and there is a gas station literally at the bottom of this mountain. So we are saved, we're safe. I'm ready to give this man my life savings. I'm ready to empty out whatever accounts he wants. But he won't stay for me to withdraw money. I don't know why. He's in a hurry. So he scrawls his name and address on a piece of paper, presses it in my palm, and takes off. Now, I'm really, really bad at following through with anything that requires me to physically put something in the mail. But I am not going to let this man down. So the first thing that I do after unpacking is I get an envelope. I'm going to write him the nicest note that's ever been written. I'm going to stuff it with cash. I'm not, this is going to happen. But I can't find the piece of paper. And it's not in my pockets. It's not in our gear. We empty everything out. I clean my boss's car. I find every lost Cheerio and action figure that has ever disappeared in this car, but I do not find the piece of paper. I make it to the airport on time. I pick them up. But for the next 2 years that I work for this family, every time I open the door to get a kid in or out of the car, I am hoping that this slip of paper is going to fall to the ground, but it never does. So if you're ever stranded in the snow, in the Cascades, and a miraculous pickup truck comes but passes you by, I'm sorry.